7 years ago, I started watching YouTube videos about vertical farming, growing microgreens indoors, and at the time I was running a hydroponic shop. I chose to pivot and change that business into growing microgreens. Today I'm a board member of our company and I am putting my time and energy into making videos, helping other microgreen growers worldwide. We are consulting other companies and other growers around the world. And in this video, I have structured a roadmap of the levels and the different difficulty grades of each level. This way you will know where you are in your journey and what skill sets, how much time it requires, and what's required from you getting to the next level. So in this video, I have prepared a roadmap. So the 3 levels of the journey that I have been on, and also the levels that I have helped other people get through and what I am seeing other people are going through at the moment. So we're going to dig into what's the cost of setting up a farm like that, how much time are you going to divert to it, so what is the investment needed for getting to that level, and how are you going to progress in your skill sets to be able to get to that level. So I have identified 3 core levels, and those levels are microgreen as a side hustle, microgreens as a full-time income, and microgreens as an organization. So there are different levels and there are different skill sets you need to understand in each level. When we started our business out, we started in our living room, and essentially we started this out as a side hustle. If you start and begin any business and you want to figure how it works and learn the dynamics, learn the basics of it, then it's the best and least risky way to start it as a side hustle. So keep working your regular job, and then when you come home, you have time in excess that you can spend on building a side hustle. This is the safest way to understand your market, understand what moves, and how to get into the business without risking too much at the first levels. Because at the first levels, you need to understand the dynamics of your business. You need to understand that this works and how it works. The first level, you can say, is the side hustle level. This is the level where you can start this business inside your home. You can set up a small grow kit, set up a shelving system, put in some LED lights, get some trays, get some grow medium, and get your seeds, and then you can essentially start growing. At this level, you will require an investment of about 1 till 4 or 5,000 euros. In my opinion, about 4,000 euros is optimal. At this level, you're able to reach about 10,000 euros per year from your home, and you will have no expenses because you will have no rent cost and you will have no costs paying employees. Your administration levels are very, very low at this point, and the skill sets you require are learning how to grow microgreens, learning how to sell them. That's basically it. So at this level, it's required to put in about 1 to 2 hours per day. And that's divided into 30 minutes of grow per day, 7 days a week. And then 1 day where you essentially go out and you sell all your products. You will have no rent, you will have no salaries, and your profit margin will be about 50% at this level. Just to factor in and compare about how we did like the first year we did 35,000 euros in sales. And we did that from kind of a small setup and scaled that small setup into multiple rooms. So we did not go out and rent any rooms at this level, but we started with being able to scale up in a room size of about 12 to 15 square meters. That was how we did it, and that was how we got through the first stages. We did this initially with 2,000 euros ourselves, proved the system worked. Then we got a guy to invest 6,000 euros in us. And with those 6,000 euros, we essentially were able to buy more systems, scale this up, go into a more commercial setting, but not too big at the time. So when you want to transition from the side hustle to a full-time income, suddenly you have to invest a lot more time, of course. At this level, you're going to need to invest about 8 to 12 hours per day, 5 to 6 days a week in growing and in selling and in scaling your business, because at this level you will be able to do so we categorize this level at 100,000 euros a year in sales. When you get to this level, you're going to have more expenses, more rent. You're going to have some salary costs as well you have to put into it. And that will, of course, bring down your margin. You will need to invest about between 10 and 100,000 euros at this level. And so the reason for it being such a big divide is because that some people like to invest as low amount of capital and money as possible, and others like to make it fully automated with automatic watering systems and making it really nice with sandwich panels and make it very professional. So depending on your need and depending on how you want it to look, you're gonna expect to put in about 10 to 100,000 euros at this level. What we did is we have never gotten any investment after those 6,000 initial. So we took all the profits that we made, we reinvested everything, and then we grew that. Everything that you see in our farm, in the farms that we are growing, is all started with 6,000 euros of investment. So that's the power of this. If you're able to go without a salary, if you're able to postpone when you're going to get paid, when you're going to pay yourself, then you're going to grow faster. Of course, growing faster also is possible if you get help from other people who already have done it, who knows how to go in and get sales fast, who knows how to retain their customers. And if you look for certain customers and you are not able to retain them, then you have to go out and find customers all the time, for example, on farmers markets. That can be a very, very time-consuming task. So depending on the system that you're growing and the way you're growing, you have to put that into the calculations of how many hours you want to work and are able to work every week. When you're building your facility, of course, it needs to be bigger than 15 square meters. You're gonna need about 50 to 100 square meters of space that you are able to build this on. And then it's usually takes, what we see is that it usually takes about 3 months to build the room, to set up the systems, to get the procedures going and all these things. It takes about 3 months. And the skills you're gonna need in this is delivery planning, growth cycles planning, route planning. You're gonna need communication skills, you're gonna need marketing skills, you're gonna need social media, accounting skills. You have to understand the regulations of your country. You have to understand the general regulations. You need to understand how to administrate your business, how construction regulations work, how are you going to construct your farm the right way so it's approved for food production and it's food grade. You need to have the skill sets of economic projections, understanding how the economics work in your business before you do this. And then you're gonna need to understand the skill sets of how to minimize distractions and how to keep your focus, because at this level it's much more important. When you are at the level of a side hustle, you can sell and grow how you feel, but if you want to go to a full-time business and full-time income with this, then you need to be a lot of consistent and you need to minimize the time you spend on your phone, the time you spend watching TV, all these things, because they're going to distract you from the real goal you're going for. And that goal is to become successful and make your business profitable. If you're not able to do this, those are probably the most important skill sets, because if you are continuously distracted by new projects, like new things to do and new ideas, and not focus on what works, not focus on how you are going to get the most out of your time, then you are going to spread your attention too much, and that's going to take away a lot of the potential for you becoming successful with it. So just for your comparison, when we started out, we saw 7 years ago, I watched YouTube and I saw some guys in America do $100,000 a year in their business. So the second year in our business, we did 160,000 euros, just for your comparison. So it's possible to do this at this level, and this is what we did. The last level, or the last step, is the organizational step of the microgreen business, because this is where you're going to have to be able to have the most headaches, but this is also where you're going to be able to have the most profits, the best outcome in running your business, because you will be able to organize everything, organize all your procedures with workers. You would be able to get a lot more free time to do other things than run your business, or maybe do other businesses if that's what you're looking for to become a serial entrepreneur. But this is where you are able, after you get to this point, this is where all the good stuff comes. As to say, like the good stuff, all the juice, all the nice things about life has to offer is after you have finished this level and got to this level of your journey. To be able to get there, the goal is 1 million euros in yearly revenue. You need to work between 10 to 12 hours, 5 to 6 days a week. The faster and the more you work, the faster you're gonna get there. So if you work 7 days per week, 12-hour days, of course you're gonna be faster to this point than if you're gonna work 10 hours per day, 5 days a week. That's a no-brainer, kind of. The more you work efficient and optimally, getting the most out of your time, the faster you're gonna get to your goal. So what we see is that it takes about 3 to 6 months to build. So while you're operating your other full-time grow room, you are going to have to spend 3 to 6 months, depending on how much you invest, how fast you want it to be built, on this new property and on this new grow room, because of course you need to scale up your grow room. It does not make sense to build a huge grow room on the level 2, because there would be too many expenses. You would have to heat or cool your room too much. It's better to take it in steps and take that second level before you go all in on the third level, which is the commercial organization. And the skill sets you need to master at this level is organizational structure, managing employees, training employees, working with wholesalers, negotiating contracts between you and bigger clients. You need to do a lot of work in research and development. You need to understand how the legal frameworks work with bigger clients, because that's a totally different ball game. And you need to structure and automate procedures. Quality control is also very important. One of the most important is national branding at this point, because at this point you got so big that you want to be able to go national with everything, and you need to supply a whole national market. And to get there, you need to have the understanding of how to brand it right, how to get people to love your product and want to come back again for more. Because if you're not able to retain your customers at this level, the business is definitely not going to work. So this is the most important aspects of this level. And for your comparison, for us, it took us 4 years to achieve this and to get to that level. As you can see, there are different levels, there are different skill sets, different requirements for getting to the different levels and understanding the different levels. There's such a big divide in what is required and how you're going to succeed at every level, because the skill sets at level 3 is not going to be the same skill set you use at level 1. And that's why you need to spend time, you need to understand and learn all these things. And if you want to skip all of the stupid mistakes that we did, because we did a lot of stupid mistakes the first 2 years, we kind of spread ourselves too thin, divided our attention into too many things that didn't work, didn't know how to retain customers, didn't know how to brand properly, didn't understand how to have the proper quality control and systematize everything. If you want to skip all these steps, then we are also helping growers like yourself or beginners like yourself go from level 0 to level 1 and from level 1 to level 2. And our hope is that if we can get you to past level 2, we will be able to partner up with you and together go to level 3 together, because we've been at level 3 now for 2.5 years, and we have had a lot of experience into understanding how this works. When we do this for our partners internationally, it's a lot faster, and the growth is happening a lot faster, because we know exactly what not to do and how to put the attention on the proper actions. And all these actions compound. If we can get you to level 1, and if all that does is help you get to 10,000 euros in revenue a year, and that's 5,000 euros in profit every year, would that be worth investing 1,000 euro in our beginner program? And if we can get you from the second level of level 1 to get you to level 2, and all it would do would take you from 10,000 euros a year to 100,000 euros a year, would that be worth 6,000 euros? If you are able to do that faster yourself and you feel that you can do that, I salute you. Take this roadmap and start digging into the skills. You're gonna pay for the program either way, either in your money or in your time, and you just have to make up with yourself what's more valuable, your time or your money, because at the end you're gonna have to learn all these mistakes and you're gonna have to go all through this, and that's can be like the most difficult task, because it's gonna require a lot of your time and your effort, and if you want to skip all this, then we can start working together. If this is interesting for you and you feel like you are interested in working together with us, then there's a link in the description of this video. It will take you to a link where you can book a Zoom meeting with me. I will be here and I will understand your situation. I will listen to where you are and where you want to go, and see if we're able to help you get to that point where you are, wherever you are in the world. We're doing these monthly community calls between everyone who is also part of our program. And in these community calls, we are essentially listening to all our challenges, helping each other retain customers better, what works in which countries, how can we take what works in one country and also get it to work in another country. So far, we are about 10 countries in there. We are all the time looking to scale that up with new countries and helping other people like yourself get success with microgreens. So I hope you learned something from the roadmap that we have set up for you. And if you want to work together with us, awesome. I look forward to seeing you on a call. Take care.